Hello everyone, Shana here. Welcome to the first episode of Worthy Asian, a safe space to talk about Asian parenting, generational trauma, and finding our way to healing. I want to start off by saying that everyone's childhood experience is different, so not all of this may resonate with you, and that is okay. You can decide for yourself what of this content serves you and what doesn't. This podcast is extremely scary for me because as an Asian, I am fully aware of the concept of needing to save face and how we don't air our dirty laundry. But I'm here for me. I'm here for my healing. I am not here to purposely hurt anyone. I'm here in hopes that I can reach at least one other person out there who might feel what I'm feeling, and so that they know that they're not alone. This podcast is called Worthy Asian. I'm working on finding that courage to believe in my worth, to believe I'm worthy to use my voice, raise my voice, take up space, and that I don't need to suffer in silence. My hope with this podcast is that if you are trying to find that courage as well, that you can find it here. So, before we open this Pandora's box, I want to very quickly introduce myself. Who am I? Well, I'm Shana. I have a husband, a 4-year-old daughter, and 2 chunky cats. My parents are from Hong Kong and Malaysia. I'm an only child, and I was born and raised in Canada. But for the last 2 years, my little family have been exploring the wonders of Scotland. Before having my daughter, I was a registered nurse, and I worked for 9 years in mental health. I worked in the community and in the hospital system, and I got to work with youth, adults, and their families. It has always been a dream and passion of mine to feel like what I do in this world will make a difference to someone, even if it's just a little bit. So that brings me to why. Why am I doing this podcast? Why should you listen? Why is this important? Well, I started out thinking I was okay. Sure, I have issues, but who doesn't? I don't think about my past. I don't need to go there. I've moved on. I'm functioning. I have a good life. Everything is fine now. It doesn't matter. But you know what? It does. It really does matter. There is a difference between bottling something up, ignoring it, or avoiding it, versus actually working through it and being able to think about it, talk about it, without it triggering you and without it making you feel unsafe. When you're just locking something away, there is a potential for you to get triggered and a potential for your floodgates to open and you go from okay to very not okay. Actually, being okay means that your regular triggers may just annoy you, but they don't make you feel like the world is ending. You don't spiral out of control. And out of control can look like so many different things. It can be something as simple as binge eating an entire bucket of ice cream. It could be doing or saying something rash without thinking that you regret. It could be a full-blown panic attack. It can be anything big or small where you could have made a better decision had you been in a better mind space and had you not been in survival mode. I learned this the hard way. And this story is about my trigger. It's obviously going to be different for everybody, but this is how I knew I really wasn't okay. So, before my daughter, besides the regular day-to-day things that could go wrong, everything was rainbows and butterflies. I had a good life, I had a good job, I had a great relationship with my husband. I was a mental health nurse. I have the skills and the knowledge, so life come at me. And I knew what I wanted next in life. The next step was a baby. And I really wanted a baby girl. I was so excited to be a mom because I knew I was going to be the best mother because I knew exactly what not to do, how not to behave. But what I didn't realize was that I didn't know how to behave. So, fast forward, we have a baby girl, exactly what I wished for, and things were peachy. Newborn stage, a lot of people found that tough, but I loved it. We had sweet cuddles. There were clear rules on how to raise a baby. You feed them. You change their diaper. You carry them when they're crying. They relatively stay where you put them because they're not crawling or walking. They put on the clothes that you put on them without too much of a fuss. But then comes the toddler stage where they exert independence. They say no. They don't listen. There's temper tantrums. And don't even get me started on toilet training. Suddenly, I am watching myself do the very things I know I shouldn't. Suddenly, I am triggered all the time. Suddenly, I see the pain and fear in my daughter's face that reminds me of me and my pain and my fear. And holy shit, I'm the one doing it to her. And I don't know how to stop or how to fix it. So this is why it's important. That hurt and that pain doesn't just go away. It's going to come back to haunt you. Maybe it's not kids who trigger you. Maybe it's your partner or work or, of course, your parents. Maybe it's a certain occasion or social event. You might not even be aware of what your triggers are. Triggers are sensory reminders of a traumatic event. A sound, sight, smell, physical sensation. And when you encounter these sensory reminders, you may feel uncomfortable, maybe some anxiety, you feel uneasy, you might have some feelings of panic. Your brain remembers and your body is reacting to this trigger like it's happening for the first time. You go back to that place where you felt unsafe. And your response may seem out of proportion to what is considered normal for the current situation because your brain and your body think that it's in that first moment where you were helpless. And it doesn't realize that now you're an adult and you have the ability to make different choices. Your reaction is your unconsciousness, your inner child trying to protect you. For example, I received the silent treatment a lot during my childhood. I could be ignored for days with no idea what I did to deserve it or how I could fix it or end it. I would be in a constant state of angst and I would feel abandoned and lost and so frustrated. I would be in turmoil until I got acknowledged again. So now when my daughter ignores me the way toddlers do, which is normal, I definitely feel some sort of way about it. Some days I'm annoyed, but I can still be a rational parent with just a touch of edginess. And other days I just lose it. I lose control, I'm enraged, I lose perspective, and I perceive her normal toddler behavior as a personal attack on me. And my brain wrongly tells me that if I get mad, if I yell, if I lay on the consequences, she won't dare do that to me again. But is that appropriate behavior? Does that help me build a relationship with her? Is that really me doing my best, trying not to be my parents, and not passing down trauma. No, it's not. But can I give myself some grace? I'm trying. Can I do better? Absolutely. So maybe right now you're fine, but that's the perfect time to start working on yourself. When you are calm and regulated, when you have the capacity to challenge yourself and make yourself uncomfortable. It is a lot harder to do when you are in the thick of it, when it's harder to see things clearly. Maybe you are already seeing some red flags or have a nagging feeling. Maybe you've had your floodgates open and you're picking up the pieces like me. No matter what, no matter where you are in the right place. It's never too early or too late to start on that inner work. The time is now. There is something to be said about being strong and moving on and not dwelling. But like I said, locking something up and being healed is completely different. If it's uncomfortable for you to make yourself think about your childhood and it brings up strong emotions, then perhaps there is still some work to be done. It is a protective instinct to not want to go there. You tell yourself you are fine, but are you really? Is there still a younger self hidden in that darkness inside that is still lost and lonely and looking for acknowledgement and a safe place? Being Asian usually meant you pushed on. Forget your problems, move on, keep going, keep working, distract, distract, distract. Maybe this promotion will make your parents happy, make you happy. Maybe this trip, maybe this person, maybe this whatever milestone. But it only gets you so far. You think you've succeeded, but then one day you realize that you're still that little child trying to find their way because you can't handle conflict or you can't ask for what you need. You aren't able to be your authentic self. And this feels really heavy. And I think that's where I'm just going to stop it for now because I want to give you the time to think about it. How do you feel? Emotionally and physically. What have you noticed in your body? Do you feel ready to do the hard, ongoing inner work that is necessary to unpack your childhood memories and trauma? To prevent a trigger flooding your life and perhaps only allowing it to dampen? If you're not feeling ready, what do you need in order to be? Only you can answer these questions. Either way, I hope to see you next week because we start small, we take baby steps. It is uncomfortable, but it is through this discomfort that we can grow and move forward. And I just want to quickly acknowledge that yes, I did let a swear word fly in the podcast. And as much as I will strive to keep this podcast as clean as possible, the truth is, if I'm going to be honest and authentic, then a few swear words are gonna come into play every now and then. And I hope you'll be okay with that. So that brings me to the end of the podcast this week. Thank you for sharing your time with me. I would love to connect with you on Instagram at worthyasianpodcast and for you to join and build a community in the Worthy Asian Facebook group. If you have any questions, ideas, or stories, I would love to hear from you. I'll be back next Monday, so until then, take care, talk soon, and much love from a fellow Worthy Asian.